Hello, everyone. I'm Tyler Chrestman, and welcome to the Chrestman Conversation. Today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about these classified documents that were found in Joe Biden's closet at an office that he had from his time after the vice presidency. We're going to be talking about this because, actually, why? Why do we care? Why do we care at all? Well, we care because the media chose to care about this exact same topic when it was President Donald Trump. So now we are going to hold the media accountable and talk about it when it's President Joe Biden. Because personally, I don't care. I don't think it's a big deal. I think that too many things are classified and that people do this all the time and that most of these documents are probably nonsensical and don't actually threaten anything whatsoever, but they're just marked classified because I don't think it's a big deal. That's just my personal opinion, but we're going to talk about it anyway because I think that the fact that everyone takes things after their presidency is commonplace, and I don't think that it's a big deal. But because the media chooses to make it a big deal in some cases, we have to hold them to the same standard. So that's why we're going to talk about it. It's the hypocrisy that always gets to me. When Trump leaves office and has a row with the National Archives about his files, they send groups to raid his home at Mar-a-Lago. When Joe Biden does it, everyone says, well, he didn't mean to. It's okay. When Hillary Clinton does it, when the FBI determines that the former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton had classified materials on her hard drive, they said, well, it's just sloppiness. There was no malintent there. It's just sloppiness. And no reasonable... James Comey came on the news. Everyone remembers that little press conference he gave and said, well, no reasonable prosecutor would prosecute a crime like this, acknowledging that it is a crime. What she did was a crime, but saying, well, but it's not that big of a deal. Now, the fact that they found a bunch of classified documents on her hard drive is no big deal. The fact that she destroyed evidence, not her personally, but people who, oh my God, you might hear some running in the background. I have two cats now. Two cats. I never wanted one cat. Now I have two. And they're chasing each other around like crazy. Hillary Clinton's team destroyed phones with a hammer and put bleach on hard drives to destroy evidence, but no malintent there, just sloppiness, according to James Comey. But when it's Donald Trump, there's a raid. When it's Hillary Clinton, she gets probably shouldn't have done that. When it's Joe Biden, everyone in the media seems content to say, oh, well, he didn't mean to. It's fine because they did it all right. When they found the documents, they turned them in, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. The hypocrisy, as always, is why we are talking about it. Why is it a crime to take things from the White House? Well, there is an act known as the Presidential Records Act, which is a law that makes it so that all the White House records have to go to the National Archives and Records Administration after the outgoing administration departs the White House. So that's the law that has been violated here. When Trump left, basically, it seemed like he boxed up his office, took a bunch of documents, shipped them all down to his home in Mar-a-Lago. The National Archives said, hey, wait a minute, we don't have all the documents we're supposed to have. What about that? Trump's team then sent some documents to the National Archives. They said, oh, we don't have all the documents. They said, we think we sent you all of them. And they said, no. And then they referred the matter to the Department of Justice, who, under Merrick Garland, raided Trump's home at Mar-a-Lago to find the documents. I don't know if you remember all the documents laid out there on the floor like some sort of cocaine bust from the cartel. But it turned out everyone had theorized, oh, those documents, I can't believe he'd do such a terrible thing. Well, there was nothing there. It turned out everyone said, oh, he's got the nuclear codes. Okay, first of all, that's ridiculous. They weren't there at all. But secondly, the nuclear codes are good for like 36 hours. They change every single day. If he had old nuclear codes, oh my God. And he didn't even have nuclear codes. They were just stupid papers between him and Kim Jong-un. Chances are, letters from him and Kim Jong-un, it said, oh, I like these letters. I like showing people these letters. It was nothing. I didn't think it was anything at the time. Because it appeared like the National Archives were a little overzealous in their pursuit of some nonsense documents. I didn't think it was that big of a deal when this was Hillary Clinton back in 2016, because it to me never seemed like that big of a deal I think obviously you shouldn't have classified documents if you're not supposed to have them. But with a former president leaves office, I think the Obama administration took something like 4 million documents with them. Eventually, they all get turned over to the archives. But they took 4 million pieces of paper out of the White House. And no one made a big deal about that because eventually they get turned in. Eventually, they get turned in. No one cares. Donald Trump didn't take anything to cover up some big conspiracy. He took letters between him and Kim Jong-un, and it seemed more like, oh, I like all the papers in my office, just box them up and send them down there. And they sat in a closet. It's just a ridiculous thing to think that that was a big deal. When it's Joe Biden, though, when the Joe Biden team, basically the story that broke the other day is that a group of lawyers was packing up an office at the Penn Biden Center, which is at the University of Pennsylvania, and found out that in this office that Joe Biden sometimes used after the vice presidency before he declared for his run for presidency, this little office that he used at the university, well, there were some classified documents in the room. And so the lawyers sounded like they did exactly what they should have done, which is they cleared the room, they took all the documents, and then they contacted the National Archives. They went over and gave all the documents back. Okay, fine. That's fine. Seems like no big deal, except that this is exactly what the Trump team did. And there was no raid on Joe Biden. And the media is so quick to excuse Joe Biden. Joe Biden himself said that he couldn't believe what was the exact words he used? He couldn't believe, it wasn't sloppiness. He said that, unresponsible, how irresponsible it was for Trump to have taken these documents. And how could anyone do that? How could anyone remove these classified documents in a way they weren't supposed to? He did the same thing. Turns out it's the exact same thing. Now, you could say, oh, he responded better. He handled it better. Okay. The criticism that Joe Biden offered to Donald Trump was that it was irresponsible for him to have taken the documents in the first place. We can look that up. You can look up the quote where he was first asked about it. That was exactly what he said. Well, so what? Is it okay because Joe Biden did it? Oh, did he do it on accident? And so that's okay. Everyone in the media is so quick to give him the benefit of the doubt. Oh, he didn't mean to. He did it right. His team handled it the correct way. It's not a big deal. He's fine because they did everything right. No, they didn't. He took the documents the same way Trump did. It's the exact same mistake. You could say his response might be better. Fine. I might be inclined to agree. But it's the same mistake. And let's not be so quick to just say, well, he didn't mean to. Oh, it's just a mistake, and he's a good guy, so, he didn't mean to, and let's just give him a pass. No. That's not the job of the media. You're supposed to hold a standard. And we all know that they don't. We all know that the corporate press is not great at holding a standard that is uniformly applied to everyone. But it is cases like this that highlight that so that we all understand it, that we all get exactly what is going on when we turn on the news. It is one-sided to the extreme. And there are examples of this on the right, but for the most part, the corporate press is controlled by the Democratic Party, and it is nonsensical. The fact that Joe Biden had an office in the University of Pennsylvania is also ridiculous. This is one of the biggest grifts in politics. The University of Pennsylvania named Joe Biden a Benjamin Franklin Presidential Practice Professor in 2017. And they paid him $917,000 for speeches and heading the Biden Penn Center between 2017 and 2019. So this is one of the biggest grifts in all of politics. It drives me insane. Joe Biden got paid $1 million to do nothing by the University of Pennsylvania. What do we think happens with that money? What do you think that money is for? Now, it turns out that Biden Penn think tank, millions and millions of dollars from the Chinese government in gifts to the Biden Penn Center. What do you think that Chinese are trying to buy with that? When Obama's net worth after when Obama left the White House, he was worth $1.3 million. The Obamas are currently worth $240 million. What do you think that money is for? Do you think people just are giving it to these politicians when they leave office for no reason? Do you think that it's not to exert influence so that they can call their friends in government and do whatever it is that they're being asked of? Do you think that the Obamas are going from $1 million to $240 million is because what? They're great investors? No, this is influence peddling, and it's right out there in public, and they pay them for speeches. Quote unquote. They're paying them for speeches. No one in history has ever wanted to listen to a Joe Biden speech. He's a terrible orator. And they paid him $1 million, $500,000 a year for speeches. The Chinese government had laundered $50 million, I think, or wait, 20 or 50. I can't remember now. Whatever it is. It could be 20. It could be 50. I don't remember the exact number off the top of my head. Millions and millions of dollars to the Biden Penn Center. What are they buying with that money? Whose influence are they trying to get? It's incredibly obvious. It's right there for everyone to see. But we all just think it's okay. The Clintons have made $153 million off of speeches, speaking fees alone. $153 million to listen to Bill and Hillary Clinton speak? No, that's not what they're being paid for. These politicians are bought and paid for, and this is just another example. This is a sidebar, by the way. This isn't talking about his mishandling of classified documents. This is just the fact that he has an office there that the Chinese government is paying for. Doesn't bother anyone. It's crazy to me that the media is so quick to dismiss everything levied against Joe Biden because anything that he possibly did that's wrong is not worse than Trump. That's their rationale. Trump's worse. Oh, Biden's great because Trump's bad. No. That's called affirming a disjunct. That's a logical fallacy. In logic, you have this problem, A or B, and if you pick A, well, then it can't be B. That's a logical fallacy. It can be both A and B. You might not like Donald Trump. Donald Trump might be A, and Joe Biden might be B, but because you pick A and say A is bad, it doesn't mean B is good. Okay? Joe Biden is bad. He is corrupt, and we all... Look at this. It's right there. They're not denying any of it. Though you think the Chinese government is paying Joe Biden for what purpose? They're funding his center for what? To do nothing? They just like spending millions of dollars to make Joe Biden feel good? No, it's ridiculous. The fact that Joe Biden and Trump are held to different standards drives me nuts. There's nothing worse in politics than hypocrisy, and there's nothing worse when it comes to watching the media than noticing how hypocritical they are. When the documents were found, this was all the way back in November. This was November 2nd. This is 6 days before the midterm elections. And we're just now finding out about it Monday, 2 months later. Why? If this was Donald Trump, you would have known about it 6 hours after it happened. Someone would have leaked that information. Why are we waiting 2 months to disclose the fact that Joe Biden had classified documents in an office funded by the Chinese government? Do we think, by the way, that the classified documents in the office funded by the Chinese government is more or less secure than Donald Trump's private residence in Mar-a-Lago? I don't know the answer. I think that I'd probably, if I was going to guess, I'd say the office funded by the Chinese government is less secure than a private residence by a former president, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I think probably Barack Obama's house is more secure than Joe Biden's office in Pennsylvania. I think that just goes without saying. I think that the private residences of politicians are probably more secure, but who knows? But we're all going to just dismiss it. Oh, well, acting like some Chinese spy was going to break into Trump's house and rifle through his closet to find old letters from Kim Jong-un as opposed to going to an office in Pennsylvania. Okay, whatever. They are saying that they only recovered 10 documents from Joe Biden's house or Joe Biden's office. Well, I don't care. Why does that matter? Apparently, according to people who are familiar with the matter, they said that the documents included U.S. intelligence memos and briefing materials on Ukraine, Iran, the United Kingdom, and other materials, which the source said. So, yeah, Ukraine, Iran, the UK, these sound like documents that are more related to national security than letters from Kim Jong-un. I don't care that there were only 10 of them. There are only 10 that we know about because It broke yesterday. We haven't had any details on this, so I don't know any of the details. But they have discovered at least one additional batch of classified documents in a location that is separate from this office that he used at the Penn Biden Center. So the team has been scouring old offices, I guess, looking for more classified materials. Turns out there's more. They found them, but they haven't disclosed anything about what those are about, where they were found, or why the former vice president of the United States, current president of the United States, is violating the law, and why this is less irresponsible than Donald Trump's behavior, why that matter is currently being investigated by the DOJ. Is there going to be a DOJ investigation into this? Should there be? I didn't think there should have been one against Trump. I thought it was stupid, but they did. So let's have the same standard. Why are we not launching a special counsel investigation into the mishandling of classified materials by former Vice President Joe Biden? If we're going to do it for Trump, why don't we hold the same standard? I don't care about this. I think this is a dumb issue. But I want there to be one standard. The law should not be applied to separate standards to different political parties. That is not a great thing. It is a bad thing, and it is the recipe to destroy the republic. If you destroy the trust in institutions to a point where one side thinks that you cannot trust the law to be equally applied, that is the basis for an unraveling of democracy. It is not good. So what I wish from this is that two things would happen. One is that the media would do their job, and they would treat the corporate press would do their job, and that they would treat these incidences as similar until proven otherwise. You don't give the benefit of the doubt to Joe Biden because you like Democratic politics. You are the media. You are responsible for holding politicians to account. That means you don't get to be buddies with politicians. I don't care if you don't like Republicans. I think that you should dislike politicians, or at least be distrustful of politicians. You should not just say, well, we're going to believe your story. That's not your job as a member of the press, to believe the story that the politicians tell you. Your job is to find the truth and dig. You want to do that against Donald Trump? Fine. That's fine. Do that. I don't care. That's good. Hold him to account when you think he's wrong. Don't be lenient on Biden because you like his politics. That is bad. That is what I wish from the media. I wish they would just do their job equally. It's never going to happen, but it's a wish. The second wish would be that the Department of Justice, the FBI, and all these other organizations are applied equally, that the law is applied equally to everyone involved. That would be my second wish. Again, I don't know if it's going to happen. Hopefully with the House Oversight Committee being assembled for more oversight into the agencies like the CIA and the FBI, I hope that they actually do their job and they find the people who are responsible for politicizing that institution, and you get rid of those people. Hopefully that'll happen. Anyway, we're going to leave it there for the day. Questions, comments, concerns, topics you'd like covered. I would love to hear from more people in the comments. Recently, the Facebook comments have sort of slowed. Facebook has been really weird about sharing videos. YouTube stuff's still going strong, which is good, despite the fact that one of my videos got taken off YouTube for misinformation, which was nonsensical. So just comment, like, subscribe, share. I'd love to hear thoughts and opinions on this matter in the comments, and I will respond in kind. Anyway, hope you guys have a good day. We'll catch you on the next episode. See you later.